So we should be on. Let me share my screen. Bhagavad Gita lectures, share. All right. Let me. Okay. So I guess you can see my screen, right? Okay.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Perfect. All right, thank you. So in the last class, we were talking about the concept of karma, jnana, and bhakti, karma sannyasa, basically karma sannyasa, according to Shankara Bhasya. Even in this class, we will continue with what are the Sahakari Karnas for Chitta Shuddhi, and what are the accessory or Parampara Sadhanas for Chitta Shuddhi. So Chitta Shuddhi is very important according to Advaita. Why is it? Anybody? Just wanted to get people involved here. Why is Chitta Shuddhi important?
To get jnana.
To get jnana. So what does Chitta Shuddhi create jnana?
Sir, it leads to Sthita Prajna, sir.
In a way, yes. But what is in the Shankara Bhasya, what is the direct means for attaining Brahman, realization? Anybody?
So according to Advaita Moksha, it's a two-step process. One has to get Chitta Shuddhi, and only then one can start. One does Shastra study and gets Moksha after that.
Yes. See, that's a funny requirement, right? Thing is, even to study Shastras, you need Chitta Shuddhi. So Shravana, Manana. So how do you get Chitta Shuddhi so fast? Right? There is an issue here. But really speaking, true Chitta Shuddhi, if you get it, you are ready for Jnana. Right? So Chitta Shuddhi attained in an extremely high purity, right? 24 karat gold, right? High purity. Then that leads to Jnana. That leads to means Jnana is a separate cause. Jnana is within everywhere. Jnana is Sarvantaryami. Jnana is Vibhu. It is Brahman himself. So Jnana is there. But Jnana as a means is different. Jnana as a means is not that straightforward in Advaita. Jnana itself, Jnana is more a result. Halarupa, what you get, what you practice is not really Jnana, because they are all Vritti Jnanas. Vritti Jnana means the relation with mind. They are working through mind and Indriyas and body complex. So if it works through these three, that is not true Jnana. And that is why they are known as Vritti Jnana. Even whatever thoughts we have, whatever upasanas we do, they're all not Jnana. Even though the Jnana is about an object, that is all Vritti Jnana. And Vritti Jnana is Mithya. That which is happening through our thoughts, mind, intellect, senses, they're all finally not Mithya. They're all there, not there finally, Mithya. But that will only lead to Chitta Shuddhi, which is a state, that is true sadhanas will lead to a state of Chitta Shuddhi. When Chitta Shuddhi occurs, Jnana can come by itself. because jnana is everywhere. So jnana is not something which is obtained. Jnana happens. You don't obtain jnana. Whatever jnana you obtain, like say, now I know the nature of a pot because I visited a pottery today and somebody was creating a pot from the very beginning. I saw it. Now I have got this jnana of how to make pots. That is an acquired jnana. And that jnana can, so anything which has a birth has a death. Anything which begins, ends. So all these cannot create jnana. So jnana is something in the substratum which is always there. Our ajnana is covering it. You remove ajnana, you automatically get jnana within, from within. So jnana is not created. Jnana was always there. Jnana will always be there. We ignorantly associated with ourselves with mind, body, intellect, and its processes. And even now we are associated with it. When you get out of this association, it is like there is water in the pot. You make a hole, the water goes away, water comes down. You don't have to push the water. Naturally, it comes down. Similarly, you don't affect jnana, you don't cause jnana. You take away the obstacles to jnana, that is, you remove some piece from the bottom of the pot, then water flows down. Okay. Anyway, so these concepts should be clearly understood in Shankara Bhasya. Right? Today we will discuss what are the Sahakari Karnas or conducive, the different sadhanas which are conducive to Atma Jnana, realizing self. And that it's conducive to getting Chitta Shuddhi also, because that will eventually give you Atma Jnana. Let's go further. We need to develop some things, right? What are these qualities we need to develop? Disconnecting identification with the body, mind, intellect, and sense organs. See, we should not think that we are our body, we are our minds. And see, a simple thing, if something happens to, say, us, our mind gets perturbed. Say we see something awkward happening in front of us, some disease, some person with disease, some person dying, some person in problem, or our bank accounts being stolen by somebody. These are like major events. A Atmajnani would not get affected, but the person will deal with it in the proper way without getting judgment clouded, without having mental, fear, anger, hatred, despair, all these kind of emotions. Because one can isolate themselves from their mind. And even sense organs is very important. Can you really do it? For example, somebody has a TV with a good show going on, some really new thing going on in the television, a good show. Can you isolate yourself from the sense organs? In a way, you might have to walk away and go in a quiet place. But on the other hand, your mind will tell you, wow, this is a wonderful show. This show was released today, the first show, and this will never be repeated again. I have to watch this television. I have to be engrossed. What happened? What happened? You think about all sorts of inane, worldly things, and your time is already gone. That half an hour is gone. Then you go to sleep, it's too late, you eat, sleep, and that whole day is gone. See how we lose time? So disconnect is like, should not bother about all those things, and somehow we need to go away and collect ourselves towards Atmajnana. Be ready for Atmajnana. Next comes desires. Very difficult to give up desires. Enjoyment is so natural for us. And if you don't, get your food, water, shelter, and some extra, entertainment and other things, you'll be very upset. But enjoyment of external objects means that your senses and mind are focused on external objects, and you will not be able to realize the underlying Atman. So we need to give up the desires. Even if you give up the desires, you did all this works, and if I do this, I'll get this. So working for some clear fruits here, right? See, we may require only so much money, but we work very hard to get a lot of money because we don't know how much money we require. That's one thing. So we might be engaged all our lives looking for money and wealth because we don't know the limit of how much is enough. If we knew, maybe we would have stopped. And some of the very advanced people will go after higher level fruits, like going to Indraloka, Chandraloka, or this particular astrologer came to my home. He told me right looking at my face, look, you were a bhakta of Indra in the last 20 janmas. You should continue Indra worship. Here is a mantra, take it. Maybe he will give. This person said, to take it or not. He came on a Friday. Shukravara, it's a good day. I should focus on Indra from now onwards. People can get attached. You will not believe it. People get attached to the other minor devatas very easily. Sri Kesvi used to tell me a story about a real person in some city. I don't remember exactly which city it was. This guy was an absolutely poor person. He was living in a hut. All his relatives were living in huts only, small huts in the city. Other people who had real concrete homes were considered very rich, even though they were just ordinary middle-class people. So once what happened was this particular poor man got some kind of a connect with a deity called Bhakara Mukhi. A Bhakara Mukhi is supposed to be Indra's servant, right? Or some kind of a lady deity, which was one of the servants of some Indra or Indra's wife or something like that. I'm not sure. I can Google and tell you what exactly is Bhakara Mukhi. And this Bhakara Mukhi worship, he got into Bhakara Mukhi worship. Okay, so then what happened was initially it was just worship, and a couple of years passed, and all of a sudden he started getting a lot of wealth. He found some place where he found hidden jewels. And he looked, and it was right in his home or something. He found like millions of dollars worth of jewels. Suddenly he said, oh my God, this is happening. Then he became an expert on Bhakara Mukhi. That means several people who came to the city would come to his home first and say his home was not hut anymore. He just bought huge lands and buildings, and then he was living in a big building. Then those people from outside town used to come there and ask his help regarding the Bhakara Mukhi worship. He started teaching others how to do Bhakara Mukhi worship. Then he became an instant hero around the different cities surrounding his small village he was living. And his village became a dham. People used to visit from different places, ministers, those people, they started pouring money to him. Then he became old, some 50, 60 years or something. And he was tired of dealing with people, tired of answering phone calls with ruthless politicians, even gundas and murderers and other people asking for advice. Oh, look, I got into this tax problem. I got into this murder problem. Can you ask Mukhi to get me out of prison, get me out of this lawsuit? Like that it became, and he became like a full-time helper and social worker for everybody. He could not handle it. He wanted to quit Mukhi worship himself and say, I'm done with it. I want peace. I want just happiness here. I want mental peace. He tried very hard. That Devata would not leave him. It would cause problems to him if he gives up Mukhi worship even for a single day. So he became a slave of the deity. And it took him 10 years after giving up the worship and after giving up all his connects with public people, ministers and other people, and he said, I'm not doing it. He sold his home. He walked away from the city, went somewhere else. Even there, that Bhakara Mukhi would appear in some way or could create an event in his life to take control of this person. Finally, after a lot of begging and this one, he got away from that worship and he became a, person who looks for only peace. He wanted peace in life. Look at how it happens. Some of the devatas can misguide you because they want you to be their slaves. I'm just saying that, why am I mentioning this? It is not about earning money here and then getting things better here, right? Constantly, we will be also looking for, we have children, we have grandchildren, we have other people connected to us. Oh, hope my grandchildren is okay. Hope my child is okay. Hope my son gets a job. Hope my daughter gets married properly. Look at how many connects we have. Hankering, hankering, hankering. People think that these are all easy. This Krishna bored me to death. I knew this philosophy long time back. Krishna said the same thing this week. I'm dead. I'm getting sick of this lectures. One may say, because you assume that these are not important. That's natural in life. Then when is the time to achieve Atma Sakshatkara, self-realization, God realization, Paramatma Sakshatkara? When is that becoming important to anybody ordinary? When somebody says, oh, that is natural, I always look for self-realization, God realization. When somebody says that, let them say, I'll be very happy. But if any one of us look back and say, no, I'm hankering for fruits, I'm hankering for that, I'm hankering for future security of my grandchild, that person, this person, we seem to do it, we seem to think that that is natural. That is not natural. What is natural is to be with our Lord, our Sarveshwara, Paramatma, constantly. And remember the story of Puranjana. We talked about it when we talked about in the second chapter long time back. Paramatma was always our friend. We quit. We didn't want any association with Paramatma. We took, we came to this Navadvarapuri, the city of 9 holes, which is this body. And we don't want to go back to Paramatma. We find reasons to find happiness in any event around, which are all temporal. A marriage, some kind of success party, some other things. All these things were eternally involved, continuously. So stop hankering for fruits. This is important. I took a little bit extra time to explain this because many of us think that we are all beyond all these basic stupid principles. Many of us think, mainly me. Know that results obtained by any efforts are not eternal. So if you work very hard, you may wait for 5-10 years by buying a big land, sowing the seeds, putting the manure and waiting for the weather patterns to help and give you lots and lots of crops. but a flood may come and destroy the crops completely. So similarly, our efforts to achieve anything here may not be, or probably we will not succeed. And even if we succeed, the results are not eternal. It will go away. It will perish. One needs determination and perseverance to realize Brahman, which is beyond space, time, causation, and all those things, which is always there, ever available, ever present. That determination is very hard because you have to get out of all the desires, even normal desires. Oh, somebody invited me for a birthday party for a dog. I can't say no, he is my boss. We'll go. So determination to realize Brahman, which should be continuous. Without that, we will not be able to know self. Any comments till now? I've taken a long time to just come to basics. Hope this is not boring. Tell me if it's boring openly. I want you guys to, I want every one of you to be honest with me. Don't hold back. Tell me.
Krishna, this is actually, title is to know self, we need to develop. I think this is common across all the three matas, right? It need not be specific to only Brahman relation in Advaita. Even for self-realization according to Ramanuja or Madhva, these qualities are required. We need to follow this.
It's true. Yes, it's true. No question about it. Yeah, you're right. Self-realization also, the same qualities need to be. So knowing self is what it is. It's for Shankaracharya, self is Brahman. So that's why he says these are the main points.
Sir, I have a doubt. I just got a little confused. Brahman means it is self, sir, as per for Shankaracharya.
See, think about self as something which is going, which represents you, which represents something which is about you, rather than the external objective universe. So self is identical to Brahman for Shankaracharya.
No, even when we read Ramanuja Bhasya also, there also Brahman, Ramanujacharya states it is self only, sir. Brahman is not the external.
No, there what do you call, Ramanujacharya has two stages. Initial self-realization is about Jivatma, which is our own self. And later on is about Bhakti Yoga, which deals with the knowing of Parabrahman, who is Krishna, and realizing Parabrahman eventually at the end. That is the Brahma Sakshatkara. Sometimes the word Brahman is used by Shankaracharya to represent pure Jivatma also. So it depends on the context. But for Ramanujacharya, Jivatma Sakshatkara is separate, Parabrahma Sakshatkara is separate.
Okay. And for Shankaracharya, one stage only everything is Brahman, sir? Self-realization, or like he has categorized, like how Ramanujacharya has categorized stage one, first stage, and like that?
See, there is no real self for Shankaracharya, which is other than the combination of body, mind, intellect, and the reflection of the Brahman on it. So there is a self, but it is not a separate entity for Shankaracharya. It is just a combination, some kind of a reflection which happens due to a combination. So the true self is Brahman only. And the immediate, like the feeling of I, the feeling of I am aware, I'm happy, and all those things, they are all combination of mind, intellect, ahankara, vrittis, our thoughts, which are all related to body, mind, intellect. And that we call it as Jivatma, self. He also uses the term Jivatma. Shankaracharya uses the word Jivatma, but it is not a permanent, lasting entity for him.
Oh, okay, sir. Understood.
Okay, yeah. It's not concrete for him.
Okay, sir.
Any other thoughts before we go first? Any questions till now?
So I did not understand point number 4, where you say no, the results obtained by any efforts are not eternal.
Correct.
So how do we realize eternal?
Good point. By efforts, you can only do Chitta Shuddhi. According to Shankaracharya, we only talk about Advaita here. By any kind of efforts, maximum you can achieve is purification of your mind. Once your mind is pure, naturally your mithya jnana goes away. Like how you can light the fire, you can set a tree aflame. If one tree is burning, it slowly transfers the fire to the next tree, and slowly the fire takes over the entire forest and burns up the forest. After all those things, what will happen to the fire? When all the trees are consumed, what happens to the fire?
It goes away.
It extinguishes itself. Similarly, all your actions for karma yoga, bhakti, and everything is only to burn away the non-eternal. And the eternal will stay as it is. That is, it is not produced from within. It already happens. So what is realization? There is nothing called you realizing something in Advaita. Destruction of what you call yourself as you will create realization, which is only one Brahman. Did you understand?
Okay. Okay.
So you are not realizing Brahman as a separate entity. Anyway, you only realize that you don't exist. Because your body, mind, intellect, and your external universe are all mithya, which is non-existing. When that happens, you are already there, you are self-aware at that time. Even self-awareness is not there. Advaita Moksha is a very, very complex point that we will come to it eventually. Here, what we are trying to do is giving an overview of principles of Shankaracharya's philosophy commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Next.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This self-realization, is it a instantaneous realization?
Depends on the purity of mind, right? There are some people who might have done a lot of good things in their past several janmas. For them, it could be instantaneous, like Shukra Maharshi or somebody else, Shankaracharya, for example. For others, it may not be instantaneous. It may be janmas, it may be years, it may be months, it may be a lifetime. We cannot predict. As long as one feels that he is a karta, he is a doer, he is a knower, he is an enjoyer, that means he is bound. For that person, purification of mind is not that easy. It takes a long time. He has to go through karma yoga, jnana, bhakti yoga, and then the jnana comes to him eventually.
Okay, so it means to say that at some point of time during the purification of mind, this happens instantaneously.
It could, yes. See, this is what I asked Narasimhan Swami, that is Dr. Anantanga son also. I was feeling that it will become instantaneous when all your karmas, the purification occurs, right? But what Narasimhan was arguing with me was that why not? Because it is like digging a well, right? There's a huge place where there's a lot of water table below. And you take one piece of ground, just a little bit like 1 meter, 1 meter diameter, kind of a place. You start digging a well, and in that particular place you'll find a little water. Okay, you dig more, you get more water. So, what do you call the jnana from within could arise in stages. Jnana was, you didn't create water from nothing. The water was already there under the ground. You just made sure that you can get to it. That's what is Karma Yoga about.
Yeah.
So it could come in, Jnana could come in pieces. Then, not all, the whole of Ajnana is not lost. Some Ajnana is lost. See, that is what is their view of Jivan Mukti, right?
Yes.
In Jivan Mukti, what happens? It is Dagdha Patavata, they say. What is Dagdha Pata? A burnt cloth. Somebody is wearing a shirt, but somebody set a fire from behind and somehow it consumed the whole shirt and it got extinguished. But really speaking, the shirt appears like a shirt. But if you touch it, it may fall off as just ashes. But it's not falling off, it's just holding together because initially there was a shirt and the strings were all tied up together, they're woven together. Right? It appears like a shirt, but it's not a shirt. Similarly, the karmas karmas and ajnana, ignorance and all, may appear to be like the person may appear to have a body, the person may, but internally he would be all realized. He would be all self-realized. It is possible to have that state. Particularly if you meet a powerful yogi in your life, you will find out how is that person so different from you.
Sir, one doubt is there. Hello?
Yeah.
Sir? If suppose the jiva is not able, started a process where he was not able to realize in his birth, in the next birth he will start from where he has left, or again he has to start from the scratch, sir?
He doesn't have to start from the very beginning. He can whatever he does in this janma is stored in his bank account. So he will start with his big bank balance in the next janma.
This is as per the three acharyas, sir. I have accepted it.
Yes, this is as per all the three acharyas.
I think Bhagavan himself tells this in the sixth chapter. Sixth chapter somewhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Sixth chapter. Okay. All right. Now let's go further. Hope this kind of a view is helping you understand Shankara Bhasya. We'll go further.
Krishnaji, I just have a small point. This is Sudarshan. I was listening to a lecture by Swami Omkarananda recently on Tattva Bodha, and he used Tamil words, very simple Tamil words, to explain the position of what we think we are and what Brahman is within us. Tamil, I don't know if I can say it, if everybody understands. Unarvu appadinu or word irukku, to experience, to feel. அதே அப்புறம் தன்னுணர்வுன்னு ஒரு வார்த்தை இருக்கு. So தன்னுணர்வு is what we are living with right now, and உணர்வு is pretty much Brahman itself. Like, so when you remove the tan portion of it, then we have realized. So that is how he put it in a very simple way so that it can reach a lot of people. I don't know how to say it in English though, unfortunately.
It's a wonderful way of saying it, because unarvu is awareness in a way. Tan unarvu, then you are having yourself in that cognition. You are experiencing yourself and that experience, right?
Yes.
Do I understand it properly? Because my Tamil is as bad as it could be.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. So when the tan portion is gone, then you have slid into the sakshatkara part of it, like where you have experienced.
Even though the words are so simple, the true nature of that realization is very hard to experience and understand, right?
Yes.
The words are very simple, and his presentation skill is excellent. I know Swami Omkarananda, who is no more now. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his way of presentation a lot. He comes on TV. He used to come on TV before. Yeah, his presentation is excellent.
But it's difficult to say this thing in English. That's problem.
It is difficult to say in English. See, all cognitions if you try to explain it in English, all cognitions involve an element of I am cognizing, and a subject of the I is always somehow included in all cognitions. What does it mean to me? What I am involved in this, right? The thing is, if you take away that I, and if the cognition becomes purely about cognition, is that realization. See, only when a person gets that realization will know what that is, because it's very hard to explain it, right? You can't put it in words easily.
Yeah, தமிழ்ல இருக்கு அது, பட் வேற எல்லாம் சொல்றது கஷ்டம்.
தமிழ்ல இருந்தா கூட
புரியறது கஷ்டம்.
கன்னடிகாஸ் ஹிந்தி பீப்புள் ஆர் நான் ரியலைஸ்னு சொல்லலாமா?
முடியாது.
புரிஞ்சு போச்சு அப்படின்னு.
ஆமா. யா. அப்புறம் இன்னொரு இதுல சுவாமி சின்மயானந்தாவோட ஒரு கோர்ஸ்ல in a program for the first 4 Brahma Sutras, one of the Swami was explaining about what is acquired and what is realization. So basically he was saying anything that you acquire in this existence, like anything that you can gain in this existence is mithya, that is not going to be there forever. So if you extend that thought into shakshatkara, into realization, the only way that it can be eternal is that if it is not acquired, that if it was already there within you. If it was not there within you, then that means that you have acquired it. That means then it's mithya. So then you just have to remember that in the Cholindra.
That is very correct. In fact, there is an analogy called prakshanaran manehe, right? See, the thing is, suppose a diamond, a wonderful diamond, fell into a quagmire or clay, in watery clay or something, and some kind of it fell and it became dirty. So you cannot see that shining diamond at all. But if you wash it, you take like a hose and wash it off, and you take all the impurities away, again you see the shining diamond. So the shining diamond and the shine and everything was not created. It was already there. But all the dirt and murk, everything was taken out. Now you see it. This is exactly how it is. This is what philosophy is. This is what Shankara philosophy is. Pretty much it's common to Ramanuja philosophy also. One second. Okay, we'll move to the next slide.
Yeah, and one more example, the fire, when you said about the fire example, fire consuming itself, Arvar Swamigal was using a concept of some kind of a herb that you put inside water that dissolves itself and cleanses the water, but the herb also dissolves itself, some kind of a thing.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
And the obvious other example is camphor, right?
Yes.
The camphor,
the Arvar Swami was telling about Padigaram, which cleanses the water.
Yeah. It was being told in Mukshupadi class. Mukshupadi one video lecture came. In that one of the video, Arvar Swami explained this example.
Okay. So Mukshupadi is a very nice grantham. They explain in very simple terms. Very amazing grantham.
But only 31 videos are uploaded, sir. Remaining videos are not uploaded.
I don't know what happened to those classes. See, nowadays Alvar is not available till the February 16th. He's extremely busy. He's actually, in fact, today, I don't know whether there was a class today. Okay, so I don't know. Really, he's going to be now, probably resuming all the activities from February 16th, if I'm not mistaken.
Because it's a very good class, sir. It was explained in a very lucid manner. It was explained. 31 videos I attended.
Because like even the audience for it is English audience and Western audience, right? That's why he had to explain extremely clearly, I think. I didn't listen to many of his lectures.
No, you came in one of the video you came, sir. You asked a question in one of the video lecture you attended.
One or two, that's all. One or two, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how do you achieve Chitta Shuddhi? There are two ways to achieve Chitta Shuddhi. These are very important. Sahakari Karna and Parampara Sadhana. What is Sahakari? It's a, you can say Karna or Sahakari Sadhana also you can say. Cooperative means that which works together with you. The activities which are conducive to self-knowledge. That is, they are Sahakari methods. Cooperative means. There are another ones which are accessory means, which are like Karma Yoga and Upasana, Bhakti Yoga and all those things. They are accessory means, right? There is a small difference between these two. The cooperative means basically bring you the right environment, makes you ready for self-realization. For Parampara, for accessory, there are separate processes you do, like a pathway you take to achieve Chitta Shuddhi. So there are two types of sadhanas. We will go a little bit deeper. What time is it now? 8:53. We have time. We will go a little bit deeper about these two types of means. We directly go into Bhagavad Gita here, right? Sahakari cooperative means you can develop these means. You better develop these means, right? So I thought these are very simple things hidden in the 13th chapter. Why is it important? But this seems to be very important because we don't have cooperation in our lives. In our modern life of achievements, comparison with neighbors, comparison with cousins and friends, we want to achieve so many things based on all those things. So because our society is screwed up, their values are screwed up, but we want to suck up to the values of the society rather than finding the right path, finding the truth, finding what is going to help us, what is good for us, right? We are not doing it. Yama says to Nachiketa, Shreyascha Preyascha, right? There are two paths always in front of you. That which is pleasing, Preya, that which is Shreya, which is ultimately good for you. What is pleasurable, people take. I went looking for pleasure. Yeah, here is a sweet, here is that, here is something nice to have. Here is fun, lots of food, lots of entertainment, good drinks, whatever. They're all pleasure oriented. We take the path of the pleasure, usually. But what is ultimately good, we probably ignore. That is like a bitter pill. So, Amanitvam, that means humility, not having ego. See, each of these words have very different meanings. I might be saying something which is not in Shankara Bhasya. You figure it out because I could not spend hours to exactly find out the words of Shankara Bhasya here. Humility, modesty, non-injury to others in any way, any being, including animals, patience, because life is not straightforward. You got to be patient. Patience is important. That gives you tenacity to go after the right goal. Arjava, being straightforward. Don't say something meaning something else in mind and thinking of something else. All this crooked attitude you should give up. Be straightforward. Be sincere. Service to the teacher. Our acharyas are great. We have to serve them. We can't just ignore them. Oh, I learned something. I threw a few dollars at them and that was sufficient. I gave some money to those people. That's not important. You have to go sit down with them, talk to them, find out their issues. Can I help you to achieve something? See the number of people who went to Hyderabad and helped Chinnaji or set up such a massive thing. It's a lot of service. Similarly, service to acharyas who are giving you jnana, that is sacred text, the meaning of the sacred text, the meaning of realization, the meaning of how to achieve realization, guide you from point to point, step by step, based on your mind, based on each of the students' attitudes. They're doing it. Don't take it lightly. If you serve them more, you will get more value. Because you also contribute to the society by serving them. Because you will be an example, and whatever work you do will be usable by others, and which will help them immensely in the spiritual path. Service to teachers, purity in many things, what we do in daily, in purity, when dealing with money, when dealing with so many issues, steadfastness. Don't give up, because there are always forces which create problems. The forces are right within you. The Rakshasa are sitting right within you in the form of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So you have to win over them and be steadfast. Self-control. Your mind can go all over the place. You need to have control. And absence of attachments to indriya arthas, are the objects of senses. You have to give up the attachments, because the attachments will take over. Simple, right? Instead of being in this class, we could be watching a wonderful Netflix show or something. That's very attractive. But sitting in a class is not attractive. But eventually, even though it may be boring to hear these lectures here and there and all those things, they slowly sink into you. And because for everybody, time is ticking. We have very little time on this earth. And during this time, our readiness to work is affected. We don't have the sattvika guna all the time, where we can learn knowledge. Only when we are sattvic, during that phase, you can learn knowledge. If you are tamasic, or if you're sleepy, mentally not put together, disturbed, distracted, you cannot understand. So the times when we are sattvic are rare. We have to practice to be in sattvika guna. That then, to achieve that, you have to get away from the objects. Absence of ego. Ego we have to give up. I know it all attitude. Because you never know what kind of good information is coming from what part. Maybe coming from a child, from a young person. You need to keep that open. And we need to understand that this whole life, everything is futile in a way. Birth, death, old age, disease, pain, any enjoyment here, any achievement here, they're all temporary. And we need to give away asaktihi anabhishwangaha. Shankaracharya explains the word anabhishwangaha very nicely. Prior to that, let me finish what thought I had. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, dukkha, doshanudarshanam. That means in our lives, we have this birth, death, old age, disease. We should always know that any kind of happiness here, whatever, they may be fantastic happiness for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but they are all ephemeral. It will not be there forever. We have to look for what is constant happiness. See, we always know naturally to find immediate happiness or temporal happiness. It's not a big deal. We'll always find just a cup of coffee may be enough to give you a temporal happiness. We need to find what is true happiness, what is eternal happiness, which will not go away from me. What is true is my life may go away. The Vedas say in the Rig Veda, like how a pot containing water with, and if the pot has holes, slowly the water drains away. Our life force is draining away every minute of our life. So we need to make use of this vehicle, wonderful vehicle God has given, to achieve permanent happiness. How do you do it? Absence of identification with relatives. See, for example, if my wife is unhappy, I become so unhappy. If my child is unhappy, I become so unhappy. It's an absolute identification with that external person. Anabhishvangaha. It's like, as if we are like a Siamese twins, absolutely connected with all our relatives. It could be husband, wife, it could be children, it could be friend, it could be a close relative of some kind, brothers, sisters, mother, father. We identify with them, with themselves. If they become, unhappy, we become unhappy. Look at how it is. If you disconnect your identification with your body, all these things will go away. You will maintain equanimity. Whatever happens, because anything which is happening to the body and mind and intellect. I am not the body. I am not my mind. I am not my intellect. And if you can separate yourself out, then nothing will affect you. That is when you can keep equanimity during times of undesirable effects and desirable effects. Whatever events happen which are desirable or undesirable, nothing will bother you. You will be calm. You will become, you are really the Brahman in a way, according to Shankaracharya. You are pure, Nitya, Shuddha. You will be in your true state. Shankaracharya says, Mayicha ananya yogena bhaktihi avyabhicharini. Look at how he explains. Mayicha ananya yogena bhaktihi. Lord Krishna says in the 13th chapter, 11th shloka, you should have unflinching devotion to me. Mayicha. To me. That's what Krishna says. Bhaktihi avyabhicharini. That should not be. What is vyabhichara? Can anybody tell me what is vyabhichara? Anybody?
Vyabhichara means adultery.
Correct. That means, vyabhichara means that we are truly wedded to Parabrahman. Our devotion should be only to Parabrahman. But we are devoting our connection, attachment, association, interest, everything on something other than Parabrahma. That becomes vyabhichara.
Devadantara sambandham.
Devadantara sambandham, loosely put. The word vyabhichara is mainly used in terms of prostitution, right? Somebody who is truly married to a nice person, but that person doesn't want to be with a nice person. That person wants to spend more time physically, mentally, in every way with somebody else. That is vyabhichara. This is unflinching devotion to the Lord, nobody else. And for that, one has to have knowledge of who that Lord is. Who is Krishna? Why should I have devotion to Krishna? Why should I? What's the problem? I want to enjoy my life. I don't want to be devoted to anybody. This could be in our minds. But Shankaracharya says, Maicha Ishvare Ananya Yogena. To that Ishvara, that is Krishna is saying, he is Ishvara, he is the Lord. Ananya Yogena. Apratak Samadhina. That means don't get disconnected from him. Totally be devoted in him. Na anyo bhagavata vasudevat paraha asti. There is nothing other than that Vasudeva. Ataha sayeva nagatihi. Hence, he is the only resort for us. There is nothing else. Intyevam nishchita. This kind of determined view should be there to you. You should be convinced. Abhyabhicharani buddhihi, ananya yogaha, tena bhajanam bhaktihi. So with this kind of a mind which is truly dedicated, one should serve bhajanam bhaktihi. Na vyabhicharana shila abhyabhicharani. He clearly says that. So Shankaracharya's language, everything is very clear, precise. He uses terms which are very appropriate. So he talks about bhakti in that Ishvara, which is Krishna according to what Bhagavad Gita, Maicha uses. Anyway, why are we doing this? For Shankaracharya, this bhakti is to get Chitta Shuddhi. That's an important difference here. I hope you noticed that. We are only talking about Chitta Shuddhi. For that, Karma Yoga and Bhakti, everything comes in to make our mind pure. Okay. Now, that is the end of the. I only had 6. We covered almost an hour now, almost an hour to the dot. Okay, any questions here? These are the Sahakari Karna. That means we just talked about. Cooperative means conducive to self-knowledge. Think about it. These, even though looks like simple moral science teaching here, we have to constantly remember this to develop our Atma Jnana, or else we will get polluted.
In this 13th chapter related to this Amanitvam, Adambitvam, whatever is told, that itself Krishna calls it as Jnana. So, but Shankara actually, what I can tell, he includes this as Sahakari Karna for Chitta Shuddhi.
See, I took it from Gangoldi. I'm actually summarizing using Satchidananda Swami's views on Gita. Because summarizing Shankara Bhasya is very difficult. By directly going to the Bhashya and then clearly understanding what is the summary, that will become a lifelong research process for me. It's very difficult. So I'm using a translation of Satchidanandendra Swami's simple book on Bhagavad Gita. And that's what I'm trying to deal with. But I can directly tell you what etat jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yadatonyata. That's what you are mentioning, right?
Yes.
Yes. If you look at Shankara Bhasya, go further. You can see my screen? No?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. Here, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnana Tadachanam Etat Jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. Let us see what Shankaracharya says. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Atmadi Vishayam Jnanam Adhyatma Jnanam Tasmin Nityabhavaha Nityatvam Amanitvadinam Jnana Sadhananam Bhavana Paripaka Nimittam Tattva Jnanam. So this Amanitva and all these methods to achieve Chitta Shuddhi, they are Jnana Sadhanas. That's what Shankaracharya says. Tasyartha Moksha Samsaro Paramaha. That means by having all those things, what is the effect? The samsara will go away. Samsara will subside. Tasya alocham tattvajnanartha darshanam. So remembering all these things is tattvajnanartha darshana. Tattvajnana phalalochane hi sadhananushtane pravritti syaditi. That means if you know this is what happens if you know this kind of knowledge, then you will become interested in taking up the path. You will get interested to take up that particular path and go in that path, and you will put efforts in that path. Etat amanitvadi tattvajnanartha darshanantam muktam jnanam iti proktam jnanarthatvat. This will lead to jnana in a way. That is why it is at jnana. Ajnanam yat ataha asmat yathoktat anyatha viparyayena. Anything other than this is ajnana. Manitvam, dambitvam, himsa. That is, if you are cruel, you are ostentatious, your ego, you are very proud, and you are not tolerant, you don't want to excuse people's mistakes. And if you're not straightforward, they're all ajnana. Vijnayam pariharanaya. That you should give up that ajnana. You should correct yourself. You'll give up all your ignorance and come to the right path. Samsara pravritti karanatvat iti. Because why should that be given up? Because that will get you involved seriously in samsara. You will be bound and you will not be able to get out of it. Yathoktena jnanena jnatavyam kim iti akankshayam ahagnyam yatat ityadi nanu yamaha niyamascha amanitva nataihi jnayam jnate nahi. Okay, let us not go further now. This is enough to help you saying that this is jnana sadhana according to Shankaracharya.
So this does not become part of the Karma Yoga or the Sankhya Yoga then, because they are different. They are not. This is termed under put under Sahakari Karna. So the other one is the Parampara you told. So that becomes different in Shankara's view. Karma Yoga and this thing, Sankhya.
Here, this Amanitva and all. See, what is Karma Yoga according to Shankaracharya? You do Nishkama Karma devoted to God, Ishvara Arpana Buddhya, you have to do, dedicated and offer all the fruits and actions and everything to God, right? That is Karma Yoga. But this will all, this Amanitva and all these activities will help you achieve the Karma Yoga. They give you the right conditions for you. If you become very, very, money-minded, how will you even go towards spiritual interests? So all these things, you have to know that life is very short. You should know that I cannot achieve much by just any kind of efforts. All these things should be embedded. They are conducive means, but the accessory means are Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Upasana. Okay? So I think we are running very late. Today I can't even go further. I have to prepare for a webinar. I am very tired also. Sorry, we have to stop here. We will take up next week. Okay?
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna.
Namaste. Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Maha Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Maha Shri Lakshmi Hayodana Parabrahmane Maha Sarvam Shri Krishna.